Welcome back to the FBJ studios at the Sam Hinkie Pavilion, or otherwise known as the University of Hinkie Pavilion. Um, we just uploaded part one from earlier this afternoon. The audio video sync is it's bad, so lip syncing is, I hate technology. Lip syncing is very difficult, apparently, using the webcam. So, we will, at the completion of part two, we will remove part one and reload part one and then upload part two. So somewhere around roughly, hopefully 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll have both videos up for you. There, like we said earlier in part one, there is a game that started already this afternoon. Grizzlies at the Knickerbockers. Miss you, Steve. Miss watching you playing in at the Garden and dropping bombs and people's chant. I'm saying, hat tip. A lot of hat tips. You know what I mean? A lot of hat tips. A lot of tip of hats. Try to be courteous here on the FBJ Studios. We try not to be too full of ourselves, even though it might come off as such. Really loosey-goosey type of program. Really loosey-goosey type of format. So. You know, we're not going to reel it back for anybody in particular. We're just going to give it to you hard. And I can tell already now that the webcam is not following my... So whatever, I mean, you know, we'll do the best we can. And like I said, we'll have both parts uploaded a little bit later this afternoon. Some general contact info if you want to holler at us, if you want to yell at us, if you want to give shout-outs. Hat tips. We approve of hat tips here. H/T. My Twitter account is StanWhite87, White with a Y. I will never stop saying it. You'd be surprised how often people even that I've worked with in the past know my last name and still spell it W-H-I-T-E. Whatever. So yeah, Twitter, StanWhite87. Facebook page, Stan White with a Y. You can message me. I don't need any new friends. My YouTube channel is Stanley White Jr. That's where these uploads will come originally. And then we'll repost. We'll tweet out the videos. We'll tweet and let you know when the videos are coming. And we'll also, we did this yesterday. We'll do it again today. I know you can't read a goddamn thing on this board, and that's frustrating because I'd like you guys to see what I'm doing when I go pink highlighter on you and just start pointing at stuff. That's why we really don't even have the board in the shot right now. It's like I said, we're not going to do the board today. And for part two. So we're going off the trusty book here. Trusty black book. Black box. Conspiracy. Hello! Gmail is stan.white87, white with a Y, at gmail.com. Shoot me out an email, shoot me a tweet, follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you, subscribe to my channel, I'll subscribe to yours. Networking, it's all about networking and learning from one another. I'm a noob, so help me out if you want. I don't care, I don't need your help. Saturday night. It's the last big night of the week for fantasy. So it's with that being said, I wish I could take that out of my vernacular. With that being said, but how else do I lead in? We already spoke about using the matchup acquisitions for the week, 7 out of 7. So we're maxed out. We can't add anybody. We can't drop anybody. We can drop somebody, but there wouldn't be anybody to pick up in place. So with the 93-point lead that I have now, I lost the 3 points. Thanks, Shump. He's at halftime right now. Let me give you a quick Shump breakdown. 11 minutes played in the first half. They are down 40-50. He's 0 for 4 on the floor. 0 for 4 from the floor. No free throws, 1 board. -3 overall. Thanks, Shump. No wonder why we've been trying to get ready for the last 3 weeks. I made a move this morning as far as replacing Jeremy Lamb with Ivan Shumpert because I thought, hey, Memphis doesn't play D, so you know, play D in the same way they did last year. But again, that's off projection. Each day, each game is different. The NFL has a saying, any given Sunday, it's a typical football, any given Saturday, whatever for college football. In the NBA, it's any given game because games are every day, every night. So you really, really should not go off of. You can, but you have to take it into consideration what's been done lately. Didn't really do that. Just kind of jumped at the fact that Jeremy didn't have the strongest game his last time out. We talked about in the last video yesterday or the day before. Only 4 fantasy points, so that was quite disappointing. Who knows? I mean, he's playing the Spurs tonight, and I have a feeling that Pop will do the same thing that Tibbs will do, which is let Kevin Durant, even Serge Ibaka, and Russell Westbrook get theirs. Everybody else will probably be hounded constantly to get the ball out of their hands. So, I mean, we're talking about trapping, we're talking about double teams, we're talking about switches. Anything to get the ball out of, not let someone else beat you. You let the big guns get theirs and you shut down everybody else, and then you just hope for the best. And you hope your guys make shots. So it's a really basic principle, but you'd be surprised how many head coaches screw that up over the course of the game. So that's pop. We were really aggressive this week with the moves that we made. Used all the matchup acquisitions. We even picked up a guy, Aaron Baines of the Spurs, without even letting him play. The biggest thing for me this week has been, as well as being uber aggressive in the moves that we've made, I won't even give you a transaction list because this video would be about 20 minutes long, maybe a half hour. And part 1 was already 18 minutes, so we want to try not to have the same thing happen, not with this video. Brandon Knight and Tobias Harris. Brandon Knight had 14 rebounds last night. That's huge. And his ownership percentage is up to 95.3. His last 2 games, a combined 58 fantasy points. Operation Patience. Hashtag Operation Patience. Hats at the RG3. You got a lot of BS for that, but it's true. Having patience in fantasy is key. I mean, you must be able to exhibit both aggressiveness with interchanging spots on your roster and being patient on the guys that you know will be something later on in the year. Jesus. There goes the boom goes the dynamite moment. Hat tip to myself. What's that? 4, 5, 6 hat tips in this segment alone. Someone count the hat tips for me and then put them on my comment page on any of them, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Let me know how many hat tips I have, because whatever I have today, I'm going to double in the next video on Monday. Hat tip to you folks watching today. Thanks for coming back to and joining us for part 2. Here is a Saturday night preview of sorts. Full lineups for both squads, myself and MCW, the Anti-Tank Missile. He has Steph Curry going for him tonight. He has a lot. He has essentially his best players going tonight. We'll get you the breakdown. I know we're jumping from page to page here, but we want to get you some accuracy with what I'm telling you right now. Yeah, he's got Andre and DeMarcus on a back-to-back, and that's huge. Steph Curry, who is playing against the Lakers, and Steph kills the Lakers. Jeremy Lin going, but apparently according to the info here on ESPN Fantasy Basketball, Jeremy Lin with his bum back went through a pregame shooting drill, and they didn't rule him out of the game, but for tonight at Detroit. It's more than likely that he'll come back next week, but keep an eye on his status. As you get closer to the tip, news gets released about usually an hour before the tip or a half hour before the tip leaving you with not much time to make adjustments. So just keep an eye on Jeremy Lin for today, the Houston point guard, Insanity. Keep an eye on his status, on his bum back. He's been trying to come back from that all week. He hasn't played since December 13th at Golden State. So that's and he's been missing a lot of time. And you know, if you're a Lin owner, I would recommend picking up either Shelvin Mack, Patty Mills. Getting a little too comfortable. Shelvin Mack, Patty Mills, or Tony Roden if he's out there, if he's available in your league. 3 reserve point guards for teams that have point guard injury issues. Jarrett Jack as well, if he's available in your league, that's another guy that you might want to look into getting if you're a Lin owner. Just say, I mean, there's just so many different guards. Bino Udrih was available this morning before the Knicks game. So at least in my league, anyway. I don't know about your league, but I know with my league he was available, and there's just a plethora of options out there for you. So who to pick up for tonight? I have 2 Phoenix Suns that I'm pushing for. Gerald Green, who's playing host to Dallas. So Gerald Green, obviously, we've been a big fan of his throughout most of the year. Earlier in the season when he was hot and both Dragic and or Bledsoe were out of the lineup, Green got to start and was hot from 3. He's considerably cooled. The rotation's pretty much set for the Suns. Gerald Green's only owned in 21.6% of leagues per ESPN. So if he's available and you have a spot open, grab him. Also, Marcus Morris, Philly, the 215. Love the Morris brothers. Marcus and Markieff. Marcus and Markieff Morris of the Phoenix Suns. Alternate between the 3 and the 4. Marcus plays more of the 4. Keith plays more of the 3. Marcus is number 15. Keith is number 11. So just keep that in mind. That's how you can tell the difference when you're watching Phoenix Suns games. I can relate because I probably watched way too much Phoenix Suns basketball early in the season, and whatever. That whole roster is very entertaining. A lot of interchangeable parts. That I don't know. It's just really entertaining basketball watching them play. I'm concerned with their pace. I'm very concerned with their lack of pace. Only middle of the pack. But their offensive rating, like we stated before yesterday's game against Denver, they were 6th in the league in their offensive rating. Their offensive rating was 108 points per game, 108.0, which is 6 out of 30 in the league. Again, a hat tip to basketballreference.com. If you need analytics, per 36 numbers. You won't get that on ESPN.com. You might. They have expansive stats and info department. But what they provide to the general public is on a very baseline level. So if you want to dig a little deeper, basketball-reference.com. It's a key tool for any fantasy nerd or NBA nerd. And then also for who to pick up for tonight, if he's available, Jared Dudley. Let's see if what his percentage ownership is in the league. Pardon me as I do some live stat tracking. Dudley's not owned in the league that I'm in, and he's only owned by 3.5% of owners via ESPN Fantasy Basketball. So with that being stated, he's averaged 12 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks. For the year, his averages, he actually has scored 22 fantasy points and 19 fantasy points and 17 fantasy points his last 3 games. The 17 came at Washington, the 19 came home to San Antonio, the 22 came home to New Orleans. So basically within the last week, he has been crushing it. He's hot. And then he'll play host to Denver tonight. Denver is coming off a back-to-back. 10 3-pointers made in the last 3 games. Hey, go get him. He's eligible for the 2 and the 3, which is very useful to have. Anytime you always want to try to make sure that you can get a guy who plays more than one, who's eligible for more than one position. You get the sense that you're locked into only so many options if you have a guy who's either a guard, is only eligible for point guard or just shooting guard, or if you have a big who's only a center or forward or power forward. It makes it really puts limitations on your lineup. So with that being said, remember that Gerald Green, Marcus Morris of Phoenix, and then Jared Dudley. You kind of want to get guys who are playing against teams coming off a back-to-back. Dallas is coming off a overtime thriller, and they lost to Toronto last night. We talked about that expansively in part 1. And then Denver played Phoenix last night. I'm sorry. Yes. Denver played Phoenix last night. So Phoenix is coming off a back-to-back. The Clips, Phoenix is coming off a back-to-back as well, so that should be interesting to see how that shakes out. Lots and lots and lots of games tonight, folks. Lots and lots of games. Shump is still at the half, so we're not going to get into that at all. It's Saturday night, folks, so enjoy your night. We're going to close out with a little bit of this. That'll do it for today's show. Please be patient in waiting for the uploads. We're going to try to re-upload part 1. Apologize for the audio-video sync. If you checked out part 1 earlier, yikes, it was pretty bad, but we're going to try to re-upload it again. Have a good night.